Welcome to Red Light, Green Light, the podcast where seasoned leaders and top-tier executives in science, tech, pharma, finance, and innovation open up and get real with me and with you. You'll hear personal stories from key moments of their career arcs and how they've struggled and succeeded when it comes to moving audiences from the red light of risk to the green light of go. I'm Cindy Skalicky, storytelling strategist and author of the best-selling book, Red Light, Green Light, How Top Leaders Present with Polish, Get Buy-in, and Become More Influential. On this podcast, you'll hear from an exceptional invite-only lineup of leaders who've been in the room and at the table when stakes were high, decisions were hard, and their stories had to land. This is where expert minds share stories that shape the future. What's more, you'll walk away with tips you can try immediately to drive the vision of innovation with your team. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to another episode of Red Light, Green Light. I am your host, Cindy Skalicky, and every week we bring to you leaders in science, tech, pharma, finance, and innovation. Today, it's innovation because we have brought to you Chris Cummins, one of my deepest and greatest friends in the speaking community. Chris is, he's just incredible on stage, as you have probably seen watching one of his seven TEDx talks. And he owns Cummins Media. He is from Toronto, Canada. And Chris, I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to hang out with you today. Welcome to the show.
Cindy, I've so been looking forward to this conversation. Absolutely. I really enjoy your brain. I enjoy your heart, and I enjoy your presentation chops too.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Really good at what you do.
I think we can talk about a lot of different things today. You know, our audience likes to hear stories in general, and we talk about red lights, we talk about green lights, we talk about how to get audiences from the red light of risk to the green light of go, which you do on a regular basis on large stages with big audiences. And you have figured out how to nail it. I mean, let's just be real. You are a force. So if our audience hasn't met you yet, they're in for such a treat. And I want to understand how you got going into this whole thing anyway. Like, when did you first get that feeling on stage that we speakers get? How did that start for you?
Oh, great question, Cindy. So someone asked me this the other day, and I had to go back quite a ways.
Mm-hmm.
I now have 3 children. We have a 19-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 14-year-old. So
Mm-hmm.
2 of them just rolling off the conveyor belt of, secondary school, high school,
Yep.
and one of them just starting. And they've all gone through speech presentations. And when you say, Chris, when did you first feel it?
Yeah.
I think I gave a presentation in 2nd or 3rd grade about cats, and then I think it was 4th grade about steam engines. And and then you do the one in front of the classroom, and then you do the one in front of the school, and then you hope to move on to the other levels. And I went through that process a bunch of times over the course of my my pre-university, pre-college days.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say that feeling, there are a couple of different feelings, right?
Yes.
One is the feeling, you know it well, I'm sure, the terror. The why am I doing that? Why did I say yes to this?
Yes.
I've had that feeling a bunch of times in my career. Like, why are we doing this? We could be at home not stressed. So one is there's this sheer terror, Cindy. Then there's the other, you might call me an adrenaline junkie. I don't know. But the other is that adrenal rush.
Yes.
And with a nice dopamine adrenaline cocktail.
Yes, the cocktail. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so when you say, when did I first feel it? Which feeling are we talking about? Because there's the sheer terror of that. You're in front of the classroom.
Right,
and
right.
Then you've been invited to make your presentation in front of the entire student body. My
Right.
gosh, that's a
You're
lot of
like,
people, right?
holy
I remember being
expletives.
backstage as a kid, and looking around and seeing the different the reps from different grades, right? We're all backstage, and I remember that slightly moldy smell of a bazillion-year-old school,
Yep.
with bazillion-year-old curtains, and
Yep.
we're backstage, the curtains are closed, and the principal's making the announcement, welcome to the blah, blah, blah school,
Yes.
and we're doing the things. I remember those feelings, Cindy, like they were
I know.
yesterday.
I know. Okay, well, let me ask it this way. The first time you got the rush for nailing it would be the first question about the feeling. But the second one that I want to know is, when did you feel like, you know what? I think I'm good at this. Maybe it was the same moment, but, maybe not.
I'm hoping they both happen sometime soon, Cindy.
Stop it.
Yeah, that's funny. When did I figure I first nailed it? Oh gosh. I don't know if I can put my finger on the exact moment, but I will tell you that there is a certain feeling that happens in every presentation when you just, and I know you know this, Eddie, you just get into the groove, right? You're maybe there's a bit of clunkiness or some nerves just off the top, and you do your best to manage those. And I know you coach people through those nerves, and so do I, right? If you can get through those nerves and then click into now we're in the rails, let's go, right? So there's that moment in most of my keynotes where I'm relaying a story, and I know that the audience is feeling the goosebumps, and I know they're feeling the goosebumps, Cindy, because I am too.
Yeah, you are too, for sure.
and so when I'm feeling the goosebumps, I'm like, oh, we're so in right now. Let's go.
Let's do it.
There's just this, we're in and we're launching.
Yeah.
So I suppose the short answer is, like, every presentation, you get into that zone where you're like, oh, okay, we're doing it now.
Now we're here.
I can't put my finger on that first time, though.
Palm of my hand. What did you say?
I can't put my finger on the first time.
Okay, that's all right. Some people can, some people can't, and that's okay. It kind of grows incrementally and whatnot. So, well, let's go to the flip side of that for a second, because you have shared this with folks that you and I both know, and I feel this too, and others who go through a long day of a conference or have been speaking or whatnot, and they go back to the hotel room when it's all over. And so there's the adrenaline rush that picks us up and takes us to the tip top of the mountain. And then there's the moment you can't even think about putting your eyes on another human being for at least 12 hours because you're so spent that you lay on the hotel bed staring, drooling at the ceiling because you have just spent every single part of your energy for that audience. Can you share a little about that? Because I don't think people hear about that part that are in the audience.
It is strange when you think about it, right, Cindy? How much I don't even know if I want to say energy, but how much glucose, how much oxygen, how much brain juice goes into a presentation. And I know that you're not always using slides, and nor am I. I rarely use slides, and so it's me, 2 bottles of water, a microphone, 90 minutes, and 1,000 of my new buddies.
Right.
And so we're just, for me, I'm in, and my brain is processing a number of different tracks, right? One is the audience interaction track. Another is the content track. Another is the body language. Another is the voice inflection. Another is the comedic and looking for opportunities in the audience. Like, this is 21 years of doing this full time where I've been able to sort of create all of these little zones, but they're all happening simultaneously.
Exactly.
So, what I think a lot of people don't realize is just how depleted we get afterward. And I've learned to bring snacks, bring snacks. I've learned 2 things.
You run a marathon, you have a squeegee, like shoot it's like, we need to do that before we go to dinner with our clients, right? It's like, come on.
There's 2, I think 2 pro tips. Maybe one is have the snacks. I have the squeeze applesauce for right afterward, and often just before. But I also have learned, get the hotel day rate so that I can go back to the hotel. I don't need to sleep there that night. I'm still planning getting on a plane, but get the hotel day rate so that I don't have to check out in order to then go do my sound check and then give the speech and leave the hotel. Instead, I can leave my bag there.
Right.
I can go back to the hotel room and I flop down on the bed. And I have told you this before. I flop down with my suit jacket and I just stare at the ceiling for a while. I don't go public on the drool part. But
I would. I mean, let's go authentic here. Come on. It's not funny. Real drool, but it's the feeling of like you can't think of anything else but just sitting there and just completely. It's a strange feeling. It's got a fog to it. You just feel like you can't process very much. So you have to just zone out and watch a show that you love or sleep or take a slow walk and not feel that you need to go do anything else. That's great because you just did something that's incredible. So
we just we got to replenish a little bit. So just I flop on the bed, I stare at the ceiling, I just
right.
And then you start to second guess yourself, right? You think,
well, for sure, because we're human. I think that's part of what, public speaking, stage speaking, it doesn't matter. My clients, a lot of them aren't on giant stages. Some of them are at conferences and such, but the high stakes moments of large, important meetings, strategy sessions, execution sessions, board meetings, those kinds of, town halls or something like that. Those are nerve-wracking experiences because they're on full display from multiple angles. So maybe we could talk about some of the things that work for you or that you coach for other leaders. Everybody listening wants tips on how to reduce nerves or get that. How do you personally get the feeling so that the train gets onto the rails? Like, what is that push of the swing, if you will, for you?
For me, it's there's very much a routine to it.
Okay.
And I'm sure you know this, but a lot of people don't realize when we're backstage before we're going on to the stage, that's not the time to say, "Hi, so looking forward to your speech. What are you going to say?" What? I'm on in 90 sec. We can't be having this, "Oh, it's good to see you. I'm sorry I didn't see you last time. And maybe we'll have dinner tonight. And can we get a selfie?" And I'm honored and flattered that we want to hang up, but that's what green room is for, right? The green room is so that we can collect our thoughts and get in the zone. So part of my getting in the zone is I do some breathing. I stretch my legs as though I'm getting ready for a run.
Yeah.
And I will try to find a mirror. Usually it's in my hotel room beforehand, just before I go downstairs to the sound check in the morning. But I'll find a mirror and I'll just sort of I look at myself in the mirror and I tell myself for every engagement, I don't really go public on this, but I tell myself for every engagement.
You are now.
Okay, Chris, you're here to ignite lives. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to go ignite some lives. And I just look myself in the mirror and remind myself, you don't need to try to impress yourself. You don't need to try to impress others. You don't need to try to be something you're not.
Right.
You're there. It's not about you anymore, Chris. It's about the audience's experience.
Right.
And how can we go in and, and touch some hearts and touch some minds? And so I have this process for a bit of breathing, a bit of stretching, reminding myself, why are we here anyway?
Why am I here?
And then go to find a quiet spot where I visualize walking onto the stage. I visualize, and I've done it the night before usually, where I know which steps I'm going to take.
Yes.
I know which foot is going to step on the first riser, then the second riser.
Yes.
I know if it's I've done some stand-up as well, but if it's a stand-up mic, I know which hand is going to grab the post and which hand is going to grab the mic, where I'm going to put the post over here, all of those things matter.
Yeah, they really matter. Big time.
And most people don't notice them, and B, they don't realize they matter, right?
Right.
So it's this whole, where's my foot?
Yeah.
Where am I walking? What are those first 14 steps going to look like? Where will I be standing during the introduction? All of that stuff is deliberate.
It's so important. And visualization is so underrated when it comes to business habit building. And for me, I don't know if you do visualization in ultra slow motion, but I do. And so I will teach clients to not only visualizing is critical, and visualizing in slow motion is also exceedingly helpful to really plant into your brain and into your neurological being of your brain, right? What you're going to do, what step you're going to take. And you're talking about body movements, which is completely important. I also think about the first 3 sentences I tell leaders they're going to say so that the wording is chiseled so specifically. And we've already picked them. We picked the words, how much weight is going to go on each one, which one has to hang in the air. And when you visualize, your brain is like, yo, we already did this. I know what to do. And it's so powerful. So, yeah.
You just nailed it. It's the brain reminding us, hey, we've been here before.
Yeah.
And, and the self-talk is, hey, I'm pretty sure last time we did this, we survived it.
Yes.
So there might be an opportunity to also not die.
Yes, we won't die.
One,
It feels like you might die, but you won't.
Oh gosh, yes. So when you mentioned the sort of what's the routine, part of it is the like grounding myself. Part of it is lowering my pulse. By doing some breathing exercises. Part of it is stretching, limbering up, right? Part of it is self-talk of why we're here. And well in advance of that sort of green room space, 90 seconds before I go on, there's the deep preparation of your first words. And I would argue not just for me anyway, I know the 3 sentences are important. When you say, how do you get into the zone and on the rails?
Yes.
Like if I can have like the first 3 to 5 minutes or the first segment just so dialed in that, there could be, I don't know, there could be like a thermonuclear explosion or whatever. I'd still just be like,
a screaming baby in the back, right?
So it can be a screaming baby. There could be a door slam. There could be a chaos backstage. Somebody trips on a thing. Doesn't matter. I'm just doing my first 4.5 minutes to get in the zone. And after that point, and I know you've coached people on this, and I do this as well. Like after when our brain calms down a little bit and realizes, hey, I think we're going to live through this after all, then our adrenaline drops a little bit, right? And we get far more calm. And once we become more calm, the audience calms down. They're not as
like, who is this guy and what are we going to do here today?
And they're not. What is the term? You would know it. The empathy that the audience has for the speaker is very high, right? And so when you and I in an audience, when we see a speaker failing, we hurt for them, right?
We do.
And I'm not just talking about you and I, but like any audience member, when you see someone troubled,
so true.
We feel so badly for them. So when on the flip side, when the audience sees the speaker being calm and self-assured, and like there might even be having fun.
Yes.
The audience just calms down. We're in good hands. We don't have to worry about this one. We can just, it's fine. Yeah, they do this collective.
Everybody's going to be okay.
Right? This collective.
That's awesome.
Silent. What I don't know. Is it tacit? But this, collective silent acknowledgement by everyone in the audience saying, I think we're going to be okay. We're in good hands for at least the next hour with this clown. Who knows about the next one? But I think this one is going to be okay. So then they calm down. And when they're more calm, we're more calm. And the whole thing just sort of gets into a nice state of flow.
Oh, I think that's so great because when you get to that place of flow, and for the leaders that I'm working with who need to work on like a cool creative introduction, and then that's what gets them into their juicy technical stuff that they really know, that's exactly why we talk about the downshift where the opening needs to be slower and more creative and more thought out. And then once you get through that, you can take a chill pill and get into all your cool stuff that you're the expert at, and you can run with it and take your audience wherever you want to take them, more than likely because you've warmed them up. And so how do you go about that, Chris? Tell us how you think about your opening 4 minutes or whatever it might be. I mean, I know you do a tremendous amount of audience analysis, and as you're sitting around thinking through what your opening ought to be, I'm just curious what you tend to do, if it's one process or it depends.
short answer is it depends. What I often do is, you just alluded to it. I do a lot of research, right? So in preparation, I want to, if it's a sales organization, I want to interview, the 3 best salespeople, maybe a cross section, a smattering of maybe not the absolute best, but also some, regular salespeople. They're not getting fired, but they're not winning the award every time. I very often want to interview a very happy customer, and I find out, hey, so what is this organization doing that makes you so happy?
Yeah.
And if I can find them, I'd like to find a really cranky customer too and find out, hey, what happened? I'm interviewing oftentimes a VP of sales or a VP of HR and many times a CEO. And just, I want to understand, why are you hosting this event? What are we trying to do? And so I learn a lot about the organization and the industry.
Yes. So much fun.
I've found if I say, hey, I did my research, the audience member sitting there with their arms crossed. Yeah, sure you did, buddy. I heard you never even worked in this industry, right? So when you say, how do I open? I will often very quickly go into really specific information that only someone who's worked here for 10 years could possibly know this. So who is this guy? I was asked after a conference recently, or an annual sales conference, a sales kickoff meeting. They had the head of training and development from the head office, and then this was a regional event for a couple of hundred people, and maybe 300. The head of training came up to me and the client who hired me after and said, listen, I apologize. I don't know you, but how long have you worked here?
I remember that story. That's so great.
And
you get that multiple times. I think that's just hilarious.
Yeah, it happens a lot. It happens a lot. So
best compliment you could get.
Right? The person that hired me for the speech is grinning ear to ear and just looks at the training and development person and just says, yeah, buddy does his homework, huh?
Yeah. Oh, that's so great.
So to answer your question, instead of saying, I've done my research, I know your company, you need to take my word for it that I know what I'm saying, I just go into very granular examples that they can very quickly realize, oh, buddy gets me. That's the kind of excuse I've used. That's the acronym that I've said. I didn't know that that's what that acronym means.
Yeah.
So if I can very quickly demonstrate, I get you.
Exactly. I think that's fantastic.
It's fantastic. It helps set the tone.
For sure.
And
it builds trust.
Yeah. So I have my notes in my green room, and I'm rereading quickly. What are those acronyms? Okay, what is that department head name? What is that product launch that went well? What is the product launch that went poorly? What's the name of their CRM? Where do they go to log into the CRM? All these little tiny things.
Yeah.
So in my opening, I'm using these examples, and they go, oh, this guy gets us.
Yeah. Yep. He understands where we live and the water is warm, right? So come on in, right? Yep. Chris, what about, when you and I both are in audiences, arguably more than we're on stages, and we're watching people try to do this work to the best of their ability. And it isn't for the faint of heart, and it isn't easy. And we've seen multiple events that have gone well and more that have not. So when you think about how the world has changed. I was just reading an article last week about work from home being even more pushed, going back to office being even more pushed toward, being together and being in the office with each other physically. How do you see the changes since 5-6 years ago with people on stage? What are some of the red lights that you sort of see when you're observing at a sales conference and you're seeing other speakers and you're like, okay, here's what we need to do?
So I have 2 things that come to mind. One, and I know you've experienced this, I'm sure you have actually. When you go to a wedding and the MC is failing miserably and you just think, oh, that should be me. I should be doing this.
Yeah, right. Sure.
I've lost track how many weddings. It might be 20 now. I never charge to do a wedding. They're just fun for friends. And every once in a while, I think, I just want to attend the wedding. I don't want to have to work because I treat it like a full paid, keynote. I do all my research and I get to know but you get into that audience and the person is failing up there and you think, oh, that's too bad. It doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
Right. So number one, I just have mad empathy for that person. And number 2, I think, oh, I wish Wish I could help them.
Right.
But when I see right now, it's a great question, Cindy. In 2026, 2027, I'm noticing two themes. One, a lot of conference organizers and sales kickoff organizers, annual sales meetings, they tend to do sort of speaker break, speaker lunch, speaker panel, speaker dinner, speaker. That was the models pre-lockdown, pre-AI, pre-webinars. That was the model for quite a long time. And drink from a fire hose, they'd always say, right? As we went into a very strange phase in human development where human beings weren't gathering as much, we craved human connection. And now here we are out the other side in 2026 and 27. We're gathering again. And everyone says, oh, it's challenging on Zoom, but it's so glad that we're here together. In my opinion, conference organizers are not taking advantage of the fact that they have a whole group of people in a room together.
Right.
Let's get them sharing ideas,
doing
with each
things, versus just listening.
So I feel very strongly, and I help a lot of clients with this. I say, you want a keynote, and I'll do the keynote. Let's talk about who's doing the introducing. Do you have an MC? Do you have a facilitator?
Yes.
Oh, well, it's usually our VP sales. They don't love doing it, but they do it anyway. And so they're not a professional speaker. Okay, what if So I share. I could do the keynote. If I'm there anyway, let's talk about what a keynote / MC combo might look like.
Sure.
And I can create a through line and create an experience, and then we'll do some facilitated connections. But what I'm seeing, two things. One is the conference organizer who's leaning too heavily on just content and not creating human connection.
The connection, exactly.
Human connection at scale, to use a phrase that one of my coaches, John Berghoff, uses. Creating human connection at scale is just so good.
Yes.
And so that's one error I see conference organizers making, is packing the agenda too heavily with just speakers, not adult learning, facilitated interaction.
Right.
And the other thing I'm noticing now, I don't know if you're seeing this yet, but I'm starting to, you can tell when AI has written their speech.
Yes. We've talked about this. I can totally tell. It's maddening.
It's unfortunate, when you...
Awful.
And then you see two back-to-back speakers, and you realize, oh, you guys both used the same AI to write that speech. I feel
those were the same words and phrasings and sentences and rhythm.
And neutral, engaging, to whom it may concern. It is a real privilege to be here in the audience today. I am so thrilled to be here. No, you're not.
It really breaks it actually breaks my heart. I'm glad you brought that up, because you know how I feel about it. And it is a credibility killer completely for people to be doing this. So if you get one thing from this podcast episode, my friends, it is this: do not allow AI to write your script. You can ask it to help you with an outline, but you have got to pick up your pen and your fingertips and write your own words, your own story, your own voice, because people will be able to see right through it, and you're going to look terrible.
One of the
so will
things
the
I
event
learned-
organizers, right? To your point. Yes.
One of the things I learned many years ago, I'm a career sales guy, right? I've spent a number of years selling $20,000 to $250,000 gizmos to neurosurgeons and general surgeons and cardiac surgeons. And
love it.
Whether it's in sales or selling from the stage, sometimes I figure we're selling hope from the stage. Sometimes we're selling a better future. Sometimes we're selling product, whatever. Sometimes we're selling human connection. People buy people.
That's right.
Product, services, packaging, all that other jazz is secondary. They buy people. So if you and I get up there and we're too, what's a good word? If we're too sterile, I think,
stale.
If we're just using words, it's an honor to be here today, and we're going to be going through some stuff. And here's the thing, and here's an anecdote that's relatively sterile as well. And here's the thing here. If we're not causing any emotion in the audience, we're not creating an experience.
Right.
I read a great book. I think it was Gerber, but I don't recall right now, called The Experience Economy.
Okay.
And everything you and I do either adds to or takes away from someone else's experience. So my intention is I want to create a phenomenal audience experience. If you're sitting in the audience, I want you to have a great experience. And in my opinion, an AI written, relatively sterile speech does not an experience make.
No.
It might calm you down.
Yeah.
Right? As the speaker, I've got a script and I can read word for word and I'll be much more calm. Yeah, but you're not creating an experience and you're not being real. And that audience knows it.
And your number one job is to be in service of your audience, not yourself, and bringing your own nerves down so you can survive the 20, 30 minutes on the stage. So that's really, really key. I could go on and on with that, but I want to touch on one more thing before our downbeat to the final pieces here, Chris, and it's through lines. Okay. So, with through lines in conferences, whether they're multi-day, multi-hour, I was literally just on 2 calls in the last 24 hours helping leaders in closed door sessions for board meetings on. You can create through lines in a board meeting too. When you have corporate board in front of you and you're the third speaker out of 7, you need to know what's the person before you talking about, what's the person after you talking about, how can you build their credibility and amplify your own and the next person who's coming. So talk about through lines, what they are and what they do for audiences in terms of the import, because they're so important.
Without investing the hour and a half that this topic needs.
Right.
Part
one.
I believe that when the audience understands where we're going and where this thing is going, and we can sort of hook, we can latch our messaging on to that common thread.
Yes.
It creates a more thorough experience for them.
Right.
You mentioned something that I think you mentioned something that I noticed some of our peers don't do that well. And I'll say peers, just the people who are on stages, not our close friends, certainly.
Of course.
But I noticed that a lot of people will come in and do their bit and then leave.
Yes.
If I'm on stage opening, then I know that I can help set the tone. It's funny. The number of times I've done the closing keynote and the organizers come up to me and they say, I wish you'd done the opening. You would have really set the tone. So now I tend to lean more toward openings.
Yes.
But I'll tell you, if I'm not the first speaker, you better believe I'm there to watch what is that person doing and saying and where they going. So that we can edify them, so that we can tie back to their message, so that we can, otherwise it's just a bunch of segments. Here's a segment and we're going to paint the wall green, and this person's going to paint the wall blue, and this one's going to be yellow and have a nice life. They're not, are they related? Well, kind of, there was painting involved.
There's colors.
Whereas if we can create this experience, right, this sort of story arc, and we'll hang our stuff onto that. And, you'll remember the CEO this morning said, this is the theme and this is the thing. And that's why this part that I just said is so important. Now,
the
when
same
Cindy's
word
up
is
after lunch, this is where you got to remember that this is so, right?
Yeah.
Creating that longer event experience for them.
It's great. It's like, hey, it's like telling everybody, hey, we're going to use these 2 words throughout the whole, or, try to use this, our theme is this one word, or our aim is this one thing that we're all trying to do. So if you can fold it in, great. Not robotically, but, reaching back out to that. And then there's that naming strategy that that you want to implement with the previous speakers or the next speakers. Like Jeff was saying back Tuesday morning, I really loved how he talked about boom, boom, boom. And now we're going to do a little deeper on that. And it's like, oh, I'm making a connection. I'm learning. I'm having an experience worth staying awake for and participating in, right?
You brought up a very cool point that I want to make sure that we sort of emphasize. When you, as a speaker, demonstrate to the audience that you've been part of the audience as well, it changes how they feel. It's just, he was here for yesterday too. Right. I did the closing keynote at one conference, and I was there for the full day the previous day. So, about 2/3 of the way through, I set a point that I know that person had made the previous day. And I'll just use your name, right? So I said, and you should do so-and-so, you should do such and such, and this thing also. Pause. Cindy taught me that yesterday.
Yes. Boom.
And they're like, I remember Cindy teaching me that yesterday too.
Like, I learned it too.
So that's a really nice
So
callback,
powerful.
right?
Yeah,
That's
it's so
a tieback or a
simple.
callback
Yes,
to
it's
the
so
previous
simple.
speaker, and I believe that's all part of the through
Yeah,
line.
I love it. Oh, I love it. Wow, I just could keep going and going. Why don't you tell us a little more about who you help at Cummins Media as we're kind of looking to the end of the episode right now, Chris, and what you're looking forward to in the coming 6-12 months, and what's kind of got your attention with your work.
Sure. Well, my core business is generally opening or closing, and I just alluded to the fact I tend to do more opening keynotes for multi-day sales kickoff meetings.
Yep.
So annual sales conferences, although I've also done a lot of work in the association space, right?
Yes.
If there's a single day or multi-day conference, oftentimes we'll have that conversation about a keynote and then say, well, what would it look like if I were to help you MC this? And what if we could engage some of your sponsors and have a fireside chat, and I'll really run a panel effectively.
Cool panel.
So my team and I, we get far more involved in helping a meeting planner to craft a great experience for an audience.
Love it.
Years ago, this is my 21st year doing it full time for a living, and I have a small team now that help me on the back end with some of our client facing meetings. And it used to be Chris, come in, give speech, leave. That was the model. Now the model is very much let's bolt on to your organization for the organizing period so that we can help craft the best darn experience that this group has ever seen.
Right.
So my intention is to help you as an organizer up level whatever you did last year. We're going to up level it dramatically.
Right.
And I've noticed, Cindy, my favorite engagements are the ones where it's not a one-off. Right?
Yeah.
We come in, I'll do the keynote first, and then the second year it's a keynote and MC, third year keynote MC, and we bolt the meeting planning onto it.
Yeah.
I have quite a number of clients that we've done 4 years in a row for their sales kickoff, and we up level it each time.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So that's, for me, very fun.
I love that. And you have enough content. I'm sorry, I was just gonna I think that can be a threatening idea for a lot of organizers. So I'm curious where the bonus is there. I mean, I know because I know you, and I believe too that the same person can add layers upon layers of value, but there seems to be in some circles this like we want a variety pack kind of a situation. So how do you describe what you're seeing when you go for 3 or 4 years in a row?
Oh, you hit the nail on the head. Here's an example. The CEO of a large software firm on the West Coast came up to me before my keynote the first time we ever did anything together. And he said, Chris, I've heard great things. We're really thrilled you're here. Thanks so much for doing the research calls. And gosh, we know you're prepared. And I know you're going to do a great job. I'm sure you and I will likely not see each other again, ever. We rarely, if ever, bring the same speaker back twice. So knock them alive, they say knock them dead. I like saying knock them alive.
Yeah.
Probably never see you again.
Yeah.
Cindy, I went back 3 years in a row to that.
Nice work.
So after I've sort of crafted a formula for a standing ovation. So usually after a standing ovation,
so good.
The organizers will come up and number one, they'll say, you just made me look so good. Thank you. And the CEO is patting them on the back. I don't know where you found that guy, but that was phenomenal.
Right.
Their number one concern, you really nailed it when you asked the question, Cindy, is, well, we can't bring the same speaker back twice because they'll have the same jokes in the same order with the same stories.
Right.
And we've all seen the speaker.
Yes.
There's many speakers, they've got their thing, the 64 minutes or the 56 minutes. And it starts with this, and then there's the thing. And then I also did this, and then you can too, right? That's not my business.
Yeah.
My business is very much customizing.
Absolutely.
As was, one of our mutual friends, David Newman, called it, what was the phrase he used? Extreme customization, I think.
Probably. That sounds about right.
This idea of really speaking the language of the audience and creating a meaningful experience for that audience. Now, I have probably 32 hours of content that I've created over the last 21 years doing this full time. I have a whole, premise file full of many different modules. But I take great pains to document what did I say in the 1.0 to make certain that the 2.0 is a brand new.
Totally different. Brilliant.
So
I love it.
They're
so
most
good.
nervous about bringing the same speaker back twice.
Yeah. I think it's a really valuable opportunity for the audience to build a relationship with someone who can come in and to see them again the next year and experience another side of them. I think about people and messages like a disco ball. We all have so many different little tiny mirrors that we can reflect different parts of us or different messages to the audience. And your keynote is just one mirror on your ball of 1,000 mirrors, right? And there's so many other ways that you can reflect your light to other people and other audiences through different through lines and storytelling. So yeah, I love that. I love that. Chris, this has been way too much fun. I think we'll have to have you come back again to dive into some of these other topics more deeply. Any final words or tips for folks who are listening? Where can we find you?
I'm going to try an experiment, Cindy.
Oh, let's do it.
And I enjoy iterating. I enjoy experiments. And this is something that I've been advised not to do, but here goes.
Oh, bring it.
Where can people find me? It's just my website, chriscummins.com. Okay. You can find me on LinkedIn as well. My mobile number for listeners of this podcast, if you get to this part and you shoot me a text that says, hey, I heard you on Cindy's podcast, I'm happy to make time for you. We can have a conversation. So my mobile number is 416-200-7246.
You heard it here.
200-7246. We're not going to put that in the show notes, but if you're listening to this audio and you want to send me a text and or have a quick phone call, please do that.
Super. I love it. Well, it's going to hopefully blow up your phone, Chris, because we've got some really exciting audience members who need what you do. So thank you.
It leads to some cool conversations, and no one's ever abused it, which is kind of cool.
That's really nice. I think people have gotten better at that over the years, which is great. Thanks, Chris. It was so great to have you here. It was such an awesome conversation. We will have to have another one again soon. And thank you, everyone, for coming in and listening. I'm so happy to have had you for this time frame today. And we will be back again next week with another fantastic guest and his or her stories. In the meantime, get out there, go find yourselves an audience that you need to get from the red light of risk to the green light of go, and get out there and nail it. We will see you next week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Cindy.